you doing, Mr. Elvie? Hey, Mr. Elvie. Oh, stompy, stompy. Hi guys, down here, little patch garden area today again, and I'm going my weekly chat with you guys just to show you how things are getting on. You can see the sun is out and shining at the minute, but we have had rain on and off most of the weekend. But thankfully I was actually able to get up into the garden and get a few things done during the week before we had our nice rainy weekend. And there's still a few things I wanted to get done, like some whippersnippering and some grass mowed, but unfortunately it was just was going to take me too long with the time I had, and now that the rains have come in, everything is all really wet. So I'm just going to quickly show you how the peas are getting on and let you know what I have been up to. What you doing, Alvie? Trying to get in on the action as usual. Right, so the peas are really growing nicely. They're almost up to the first level of the run. I've got them all in the extra bit of baling twine that I use to hold them up, so they're doing really well. Definitely getting in on the action. Oh, I love you too, Mr. Elvie. I love you too. Don't bite me or I'll bite you back. Hey? So they're really starting to take off with all the extra rain we've had. You can see that these guys are well and truly getting to a good height now and looking much better. There's a few still that I need to come and stand back up, but I will get onto that another day. So what I have gotten done though over the last few days is I got the very last of the peas in. So this line here is now full of peas. They have not started sprouting yet, but they will in time. And then I put in the last 3 rows of peas. So we now have this line's full of pea seeds and this row is full of pea seeds as well. So that's 5 rows of peas. And I only had enough seeds left over to do 1 row of snow peas. So this has got the row of snow peas in there. So yeah, as you can see, melon ball patch is beginning to get extremely taken over with the grass and weeds. I have a plan for that, which hopefully I'll get to in the next few weeks, and I will bring you along with what I'm going to do with that. Up here in Climbing Bean, as you see, I have actually started weeding out in here. I come down here for about 15 minutes and started pulling this out. So that will need to be weeded off, and I will put some mulch into there. So this is the last half of it, which will get done as well. And then it will just be left till the summer garden's ready. So you can see how much rain has created all this grass growth in here. It's just incredible what's going on. So, I just tripped over the line. The capsicums are still coming along pretty well in here. They're getting to a nice sort of size in here, and they're looking pretty good considering how cold it actually is getting overnight. I've got some tiny little chilies coming along here, which is awesome as well. This capsicum plant is absolutely loaded with capsicums everywhere, so I might have to thin some of them out. And as you see, it's still weedy. Same thing will happen to this bed. I'll finish weeding it out and put more compost and the bed edging in it as I get time. So these 2 chili plants aren't getting any chilies that I can see on them. But there is a couple of flowers still on them, so we'll just see. Maybe these guys might go alright over winter here, and it's the first time I've done them, so all this mulch is still holding the weeds down here in baked spud, which is good. The cauliflower and broccoli are really starting to get some good size to them. I do have some pest damage here, which is just the one by the looks of it, so we'll see how they go, but they are starting to get some nice size to them. And you can see there's a lot of mushroom in here as well, so we've got some pretty good soil happening in here. Mushroom likes to grow in good soil, but I'll come through and just kind of knock them all over. And so that's pretty much all I'm going to do with the mushroom, is just knock them over, and then they'll just compost back down into the ground. There is lots of them, lots and lots of them. I like mushroom, but I'm not one for taking mushrooms out of the ground when I don't know what kind of mushrooms they are. Alright, so you can see all this rain we've had has created an awful lot of grass again, and it just seems to keep growing and growing. So up in Strawberry Hill here, the spinach is coming along nicely. It's just starting to get some of its true leaves happening on here, and they are doing quite well. It doesn't look like I'm having any issues with snails or anything in there. The carrots too are starting to come up. It's a good germination rate in here. It's pretty good, and I'll just let them grow like that and then thin them out as they get bigger. This is a sweet potato bed. There is a video on the sweet potatoes, what I harvested out of here. You can see that they're coming back nicely. Need a bit of weeding, but that's okay. This is the other carrots that we did with the black plastic over the top, and you can see that they're coming up as well. The rain doesn't seem to have upset them too much, even though it's been pretty heavy rain that we've had here recently. Just an absolute jungle of grass and stuff that needs to be cut down. Alright, so up here in Carrot Top, these are the onions in here. You can see they're just starting to come up. This was the brown onions. Again, the germination rate was not as good in this as it was as I've had previously. So my onions are going to be a bit short, I think, this year. But that's all right. And this was the carrots, the other lot of carrots that we put in. And again, the germination rate hasn't come up as good in here as well, but we'll still get some carrots out of it. You can see the snow peas are coming along nicely at the back. And this was the pak choi. It's got some nice groups of it coming along, so when they're big enough, again, I will just thin them out and put them in other spots around the garden. So you can see what the rain's been doing. So they're starting to come out of the ground a little bit, but there's not much I can do in regards to that, which is a bit of a pity, but there's not an awful lot that can be done. These spinach is coming up really nicely, doing really well in the gardens. Still not really quite big enough to be eating too much off of it, but if I pick some from all the different plants, I will be able to get a meal out of it. And then this is the head of lettuce that we've got in this row here. They are starting to come up as well. I'm going to have to let them get a bit bigger so I can tell the difference between the weeds and the lettuce. So, and then this bed here was where we put the red onion. And again, I'm not being pretty happy with the germination of them either. I've got a few coming out, but not a lot. So I'm not sure why this year's onions are not doing as well. So you can see them down the back there as last year's onions. And the peas are doing really well along here as well. Doesn't seem to be any snail issues that I can see much of. So yeah, this is the other spinach doing really well in here. Some volunteer lettuces in here coming up nicely, and over the back there. These would be the red and green lettuce mix that I put in, and they are looking really good. And then you've got your other, I can't remember which way variety I put them in, but one of these was lettuce and I think spinach in one of these two here. But you can see they are coming along nicely. But again, the same thing's happening because of all the rain. They're getting a bit washed up with their roots as well. But hopefully, considering they're still green, they should be right. But I can see a little bit of snail damage in here as well. So I've got some snails hiding around somewhere. Because this garden bed is no longer fenced, I do not like to put the snail pellets out with the dog and the cat. So, and I think this was the spinach in this bed, and that those three were all lettuce actually, and this is the spinach coming up in here. And yeah, that's not too bad amount of spinach in there. They'll get nice and big and bushy. So, and then more snow peas I put at the back, and then the spring onion. Sorry, the shallots they are. There's a few of them in there. You don't usually need a lot of them anyway, because you can cut them and they'll keep growing back. So, what I ended up doing was, so the extra things I did this week was to get the rest of those peas and the snow peas in the big garden down there, which I'm glad I've gotten done. Hopefully they will sprout. And then I took the onions that were in the greenhouse and I actually planted them out as well. I ended up with 76 or something, I think it was, between the two containers of red and brown. So it was 38 of each. So I'll get at least hopefully 38 of each red. Not that it's enough, but that's cool. So I've put them in here in amongst the spinach, and they did really well in this bed last year. So hopefully they will do really good this year. And they're looking pretty good. They don't look like they're dying back. They've been in here probably 3 days or something like that. I think it was Tuesday that I did it. So, but yeah, they're looking really well in there. So you can see there's a lot of green happening, growing in here, coming along really nicely, which is good. So we should get some food out of here for winter. Alright guys, so we're going to take a quick walk up into the greenhouse and check out the greenhouse, how the tomato plants and the chili and the capsicum are doing in the greenhouse before it rains, because the sun has gone away again. But it's nice and warm in here. I still need to get a thermometer in here so that I can monitor the temperature in here. So I'm starting to fog up. My glasses are starting to fog. So this is the chili plant in the big pot. He's looking really good, and this chili plant is looking really good as well. This one still doesn't look like it's going to come back, but it's still a bit green, so I'll give him a bit longer. The two capsicum plants I've got in here, they seem to be doing okay. They're in need of some water. They're a bit dry. And that is the other chili plant. Sorry, that is the chili plant. And this weed is coming back. Why is it weeds grow better than anything else does? There's weed growing under. Anyway, so this is the tomato that had the whatever it is that's causing its disease here of some sort. So you can see these are the leaves I took off because they were really bad, but they have actually grown back. They're coming back quite nicely. So once these come back a little bit bigger, then I will take out these two here, and they will keep growing. I don't think he's growing an awful lot, but again, I did not tag him, so I'm going to put the cable tie on here so we can just keep an eye on his. So I'll put the cable tie on here so that we can check his growing and see how it's actually doing. So that's where he's at the moment. I do think he has grown somewhat since getting put in here. I'm just not sure how much because I didn't tag it. Now then I've got the broccoli that didn't get planted out in the back here. They look like they've got some aphids or something on them, or moth butterflies or eggs or something like that. Most of that should just wash off when I give it a wash. You can see that there's still some snail damage happening, so I'll give these guys a water now. Some of them are doing really quite good, so I might actually get a second planting of these out into the garden for a later crop, but I'll have to put some more. These guys are really wet, really moist, so they don't need water. It's just the other plants, so I'll have to hand water. The leek is still in here. I want the leek to get a fair bit bigger before I plant that out. And then our little friend here, the tomato plant that I have pretty sure that it's an indeterminate from the way it was growing with its sprouts coming out of the armpits, so I've taken them off. And you can see he is looking really good. He doesn't appear to have any signs of bug damage, except for this one tiny little hole here. And this is the cable tie I put on it just to hold the plant up, because when I watered it, it fell over. And this is our cable tie that we put on for our height marker. And as you can see, he's growing way taller than this is only, I think this is, I'll have to have a look when we last looked at him on my video footage, and I'll write how many weeks it's been. And you can see I don't have the biggest hands, but he is taller than my hand space, so you're looking at probably about 6 inches or so he's grown. He's also got some nice little flowers happening, so we might actually get some tomatoes in the greenhouse. And between the top of the plant and the roof of the greenhouse, there's about one more hand space. So I'm going to end up having to put him down on the ground. What I'm probably going to do is put him down here on the floor down here in front of this rack, and I'll probably use the rack to tie him off onto for his support, because this rack itself it's not the stablest, but I can actually secure it off to some of the roof structures up here because I can get behind them. So I'll probably just tie that off to the roof, and I'll use this structure. I'll move the rest of that stuff out and use that to support the tomato plant, so that he's got a stable and he can grow as tall as he chooses to grow then. So but yeah, so it's doing really quite well here. We are now officially 6 days into the actual winter season here in WA, because it was officially the first of the month that became winter, so we are officially into our winter months. You'll start seeing a lot more of my beanie as we do our catch-ups, plus jackets and gloves and all the rest of it to keep myself warm while I'm out here, except for in the greenhouse. It's quite warm. I'll just show you from that beautiful sun we had down there 15 minutes ago. We've now got clouds of more rain, and it is starting to rain on me. So I'm going to come down and I'm actually going to water those plants. I'm going to grab the watering can first while I have a quick chat with you here. So guys, I was thinking about what I wanted to get in for winter, and I now think that all the plants that I wanted to get in for winter are in. It doesn't seem like an awful lot that I have planted in, but when I think about it, there is quite a few varieties of plants in the garden. I've got several different varieties of carrots. I've got red onions, green onions, not as many as I was hoping for, but again, I might just have to do another sowing of them later on in probably into spring, and see how they go, you know, the end of summer through, sorry, the beginning of end of winter through to the beginning of summer. I've also got in a couple of varieties of spinach, a couple of varieties of, I think it was 3 varieties or 4 varieties of lettuce. I've got, what else have I got in down there? I mean, I've got capsicum and cucumber that I'm still probably going to be picking off, 1 or 2 here and there. My peas and my snow peas are in. Hopefully the planting out I did will actually sprout, because I haven't seen any come up yet. So I've got about half a dozen different varieties of vegetables in, and that's about the only ones I'm going to get to do here. You can do cabbage and beetroots and stuff like that, but I did my cabbages over the summer, because Carrot Top Garden here is not as hot as the big garden beds, and so I was able to get them done during the summer, and they did really go quite well. I think I got less snail damage because it was the warmer months and the snails weren't as active. But yeah, so I was thinking the other day, you know, have I gotten in all of what I wanted to get planted in? And I have actually got a lot more in than I think that I actually have. So basically that is my winter crop in. That is all I will do for the winter crop. I've got plenty of summer vegetables still up in the house, in the freezer, and dehydrated and stuff like that to get us through over the next few months. So I'm trying to water and do 2 things at a time, and it's not always easy. So I'm happy with what, here comes the rain. So I'm happy with the vegetables I've got in at the moment, and it's just watch them. Obviously I'm not going to need to water because it keeps raining every 4 or 5 days. It keeps raining. If I do need to water, I will water, so I'll just daily or every other day come down and check on the garden, pull any little weeds out that are not where I want them. What are you doing? Yes, since when are you allowed in here? It's getting cheeky, that dog. He knows he's not allowed in the greenhouse or the gardens. So yeah, so it's just now watching, making sure that if it hasn't rained, that they'll get rain. But we've been having, every time it rains, we've had like 10 to 40 mils of rain. So it's probably not likely that I'm going to actually need to water anymore now, which is good, except for the greenhouse obviously, because that needs to still be checked on and watered. So yeah, so I won't probably be planting much more in, except for maybe these broccoli that are in here, and maybe some more carrot, maybe some more onion as the winter months go through towards the end of winter. But other than that, I've got everything in. So obviously I've still got garden beds that need to be attended to down there, baked spud and melon ball, and what's the other one called? Climbing bean. They still need to be weeded and mulched to help reduce the amount of weeds. Obviously I'm still going to have grass to do when I can do it, when the weather permits. I don't like mowing it when it's wet, because it just clogs up the mower, and it's not easy to clean out when they've got thick wet grass. So but yeah, so everything for my winter is in. Guys, it's pretty much getting a bit too late in the season here in Western Australia to be putting anything else in for your winter stuff. So if you haven't already done it, you're going to miss out. this season on whatever you haven't put in. You can try and give it a go and see. So yeah, so you can give it a go, give it a try and see if you can get them to grow. But you may find that it is just that little bit too cold for the seeds to germinate. So you might be just worth just leaving it for this season, and whatever you've already got in the ground is what you've got in the ground, and then just go for the next season. So I will be doing some videos on my upcoming summer season, so spring and summer season, so definitely keep an eye out on for those. They will go through basically what I'm planting, how I'm planting, when I'm planting, and I mean, I only mainly use a couple varieties of seeds anyway, but you can use whatever variety you want, but I use my main two varieties, which is the DT Brown and the Country Value as well. So, but these videos that are coming up, they will cover what I'm doing for the upcoming seasons. I know that it sounds really early to be talking about it, and we're only 6 days into winter, but this year I need to be really on the ball and make sure that I'm getting done to get my summer crop in. Last year I was late on getting a lot of stuff in, so I didn't get as much harvest out of it as I was hoping to. And I know you guys, I've only just started doing these clips for you guys towards the end of the summer garden. You'll get to see how I do my summer garden and go right through with me for the entire season. I'm going to be trying to do and make sure that everything is done, either so that you can do it at the same time I'm doing it. Obviously your area, if you're not in, like I'm in the southwest of WA, near inland of Bunbury, like 2.5 hours south of Perth, so you'll need to adjust your timeline slightly depending on where you are in Australia as well. So, but yeah, I'm going to basically try and get everything done a week or so early so that I can get my videos out there so that you guys can see what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and how I'm doing it. And we can all get a really good harvest of vegetables coming into the next summer. So I do stuff through spring and I do stuff through the summer. But yeah, like I said, I could have gotten a lot more out of my garden last year, but I was starting my job and I hadn't worked out how to juggle the day job and the home gardening as well. And now that I've been at my job for, I think it's about 1.5 years now, I have learnt how to juggle the two of them and my home family life with my kids and my husband as well. So everything is sort of now coming together. I'm now figuring out how to get everything done timely and everything done when it needs to be done. So, and I know that if I don't set out a plan, which is what I'm going to be doing over this next few weeks during the winter, now that I have decided that everything is planted into the garden that I want in the garden, and know that I need to grow, now I can concentrate on taking a look at what my upcoming season will be and getting prepped for that and making sure that I've got everything I need for it before the season starts and I don't go into panic mode because I haven't got my compost in and I haven't got enough seeds to do what I want to do with it, you know. And like a lot of other people do that same thing. Oh, I've got to go and get these seeds, and the seeds are all sold out, so you can't get your seeds, so everything's into the ground late. So everything I do, just so you know, is from seed. I don't buy seedlings. I think seedlings are a waste of money. You know, going and buying a punnet of 4 tomato plants for $5 to me is a waste of money when I can go and get a packet of seeds for $2 or $3 and I can have 20 times the amount of tomato plants. And if they don't survive, then they don't survive, and it hasn't cost me a lot of money in doing that. You know, a lot of these store-bought ones, are done in a very sterile, clean environment where they are mass produced, but they are done in such a way that if the environment changes too much, then the plants are likely to go into some kind of stress and or die. So that's what I'm planning for the next few weeks. I'll still do my quick weekly catch-ups. I'll do like a 5-minute, show you how going, between 5 and 10 minutes, show you how the garden is getting along. But I will be concentrating mostly on the getting some backlog of videos done, of different stuff that I did and how I preserve stuff from the last season, because I have videos for that I still just haven't gotten out there. But I'll also be concentrating on this new lot of videos, which will be the prepping into the spring and summer gardens, for the end of this year. So guys, with that, I'm not going to say any more about that because I will probably go into too many details and you'll get all the details now. So guys, thanks very, very much. Please remember to subscribe and share my videos, please. My numbers are slowly getting up there, but the more people that I can show the way that I do it and encourage people, and basically I am just trying to put it out there that this is what I'm doing and it is possible to do it as a mum and a full-time worker, and that getting it out there to everybody so they can see that it is very doable to do. Yes, it does take some time, and it does take some time to learn to juggle everything and getting everything into place, but that is what I'm here for, to help you guys, inspire you guys to do what you can, where you can, and how you can. All right, guys, thank you very much for joining me down here at Little Patch today, and I'll see you on the next vid.